Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to askNK. So the folks at Maxon have announced a couple of cool things, and one actually deals with Blender, and it is pretty interesting to see the direction that the company is going, as during their recent Maxon 1 ecosystem release, which actually bundles Cinema 4D, ZBrush, Redshift, Redgiant, a lot of things were announced, and this include their unified ecosystem and branding, which now means that Maxon has adopted a new visual identity and logo system across all of their products, as each tool retains a unique accent but looks more consistent as part of the same family. And this will cut out all of those inconsistencies, especially when you look at this in terms of the branding. And the branding is more modular, geometrical, with a bit of vibrant accent colors to make the brand/tools instantly recognizable while emphasizing on cohesion. Outside that, there is updates to all of the tool sets that are currently available with Maxon. And I would like to say that most of the things, especially through the release note, that you will find deals more with making the tools more stable and efficient. And before we talk about those, let's actually do a quick recap on some of the things that will be taking place from September moving forward. One of them is Forger, which is the mobile sculpting tool. This has now been moved to limited license mode, as we actually made a video about this one some time ago. So Forger as a tool from September the 10th of 2025 will have reduced active feature development, and primarily maintenance/bug fixes might just come seldomly, as the folks at Maxon are moving more resources into ZBrush for iPad. And speaking about ZBrush, ZBrush Core and ZBrush Core Mini already entered the limited maintenance mode as of 30th of May 2025. Which also means they will be receiving little to no update or bug fixes at all. And we also mentioned that ZBrush Core Mini will no longer be available for download, and for those who own ZBrush Core, they will be able to access and renew their ZBrush Core licenses and subscriptions until the 30th of September 2025. And so if you work with any of these ones, it's time to hang the boots, as the folks at Maxon are done playing with toys. And now let's talk about their big tools, starting off with Cinema 4D version 2026. Now we all know that Cinema 4D is the go-to tool when it comes to motion graphics and a bit of visual effect, as this is actually built for that and brings a lot of features and functions in terms of motion graphics, with tools crafted for the sole purpose of making motion graphics look like playing with Lego pieces. And based on previous update 2026.0 features a good number of bug fixes and a couple of interesting new features. One of them has to do with the improved liquid simulation, which it's already good at. And this version now comes with a better collision handling, especially with rigid objects. There's update to the liquify modifier, UDIM support. At the same time, there is a new interaction mode for duplicating objects directly within the viewport. And when you get to work with Cinema 4D 2026, there's a default use of OpenColor I/O when you work with new scenes. And of course, if you work with legacy color, these workflows are also supported. And like we mentioned earlier, 2026 seems to be a year for bug fixes, maintenance, and also stability, as Cinema 4D 2026 comes with a ton of bug fixes and stability across Cinema 4D, from modeling to MoGraph, deformation tools, viewports, and so on. And speaking about cool stuff that is currently available with Cinema 4D, Capsules now has an integrated AI search, and this would make it super easy for creators to be able to search for stuff right inside of Capsules. There's also the inclusion of procedural lab work plants, which you can simply tweak to get some very interesting results. Wax and soap sets, wool and knit material collections, antique executive office collections, alongside a joint spline generator is also now available, and all of these are Redshift ready. And for ZBrush, there's a good number of features which are now available for ZBrush. Now we already know that ZBrush is the world standard tool when it comes to sculpting and also working with high resolution meshes, and 2026 comes with good updates and of course a ton of improvements across desktop and the iPad version. And for the desktop, Python script is now supported alongside ZScript, and this addition is aimed at making automation, tool creation, UI customization, and pipeline integration a lot smoother. There are also interesting updates for the Z modeler, which includes improved visual feedback when hovering over vertices, edges, and also faces. And for the first time in a while, we're getting a new tool for the Z modeler. And this has to do with auto creasing options, and this can be played with when inserting single edge loops, multiple edge loops, and polygon faces on a surface. And with 2026.0 for ZBrush, Noisemaker 2.0 is getting an enhancement, as the alpha image in Noisemaker can now be transformed across various axes, and this includes offsetting, rotating, scaling, and also every form of manipulation that you can do when it comes to transformation. there's a couple of features that were teased as coming soon, and this includes a new retopology workflow, folder restructure, which is pretty interesting, and the UV editor. Now, we've seen UV editor being teased a long time ago, and it would make a lot of sense to actually see this one come over to ZBrush as a stable tool. And just like Cinema 4D, bug fixes and general improvements for both interaction and stability can be felt across ZBrush 2026 for desktop. And for the iPad version of ZBrush, we're getting a new 3D Print Hub plugin, which is pretty cool for those who are thinking about exporting their sculpts for 3D printing. This supports STL, VRML, and 3MF formats. There's also the integration of the Scale Master plugin, which allows creators to set scene scales using real-world units. This is pretty useful for accurate scaling in print or when matching assets across application. And just like we mentioned for the desktop, the Noisemaker is also getting a good update for the iPad version. And as well, we're getting a good number of improvements across the Z modeler and also the UI. And slowly we're beginning to see more and more features roll from the desktop to the iPad version of ZBrush. And with that said, let's talk about Redshift, as Redshift is getting a good number of updates, and one of them has to do with Blender. So you see, with the recent version of Redshift that has been released, there is no update for Blender, as Maxon seems to have paused development of Redshift for Blender, and this would definitely impact those who've integrated Redshift into their pipeline. Version 2025.6 seems to be the final release that will include Blender support, so if you like working with Redshift, then you can simply use that particular version and continue working with it. And this doesn't seem to be having any future or potential updates coming to it, as this is just what it is at this point. And if you simply go over to Trello, where you can see their roadmap, you would notice that within the active development, nothing talks about Blender. So there's nothing in relation to Blender, which is currently here. And if you also take a look at the 2026 version, you'd also notice that we've got a couple of other ones going on here, but nothing again has to do with Blender. Scrolling all the way up, where you can find new features like the new one, which is the procedural cloud object, which is now available right here for distortion shaders for all DCC. Clicking on that, you would notice we get Katana, Houdini, Hydra/USD, core features, Maya, and 3D Studio Max. Nothing in relation to Blender is currently available. And I think this is where things are moving forward, because even for future targets, you actually don't see anything that has to do with Blender at all. By the way, for those who like to read up on this important update that deals with Blender plugin support for Redshift, I'm going to put a link in the description that will bring you right here where you can see it. However, you need to open a free account and log in for you to join that conversation. And of course, there's a ton of other options that are out there, and we'll talk about that in a bit once we talk about the features that are now available with Redshift. And version 2026.0 also comes with a good number of things. One of them is the new procedural cloud object and shader. And this is to make atmospheric cloud and effects easier, so you can now procedurally create clouds with Redshift easily. There's also the updated physical sun and sky system with improved contribution control, and that is pretty cool. At the same time, there's this distance unit handling, which now ensures that the materials that you use, they match real world scale even better. And speaking about materials, texture displacement previews are now faster and more interactive with fewer subdivisions that are needed in some workflows, and these are pretty nice. And like we mentioned, the Distorter shader is now available across all supported DCC tools. There's also support for NVIDIA data center GPUs, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, if you're working with colors, the ACES 2.0 is now supported. And for those working with 3D Studio Max, there's now an improved IPR for 3D Studio Max. And Houdini Solaris 21 is also getting support. And so if you work with Redshift, things are looking really cool. And for Blender users that will be looking for something else that they can work with, of course, we've covered a couple of these on the channel before. There's the Lux Core Render, which is pretty nice. Cycles is by default right inside of Blender. We've got the Octane Render as well. You might also want to consider exploring RenderMan, which is pretty impressive. We made an entire video about that one. V-Ray for Blender is also pretty amazing, and we're currently making a nice new video for that. So just in case you want to catch up with all of the cool features available with that, simply stay subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications so that you catch that video when that gets published. And at the same time, for those who want to work with Arnold, there is a Blender to Arnold, which is also available. At the same time, the folks at DreamWorks also open source their rendering engine, and hopefully we might be getting that in Blender. And finally, when it comes to workflow and cross tools enhancements, folks at Maxon are currently working on a couple of things. One of them has to do with the improved Cineware integration for better handling of asset, lighting, material data, and all of those stuff. And this is again to increase accuracy when moving between tools. In the Maxon Studio/Red Giant side of things, reusable templates, capsules, embedded asset, motion graphics, video broadcasting workflows are also getting amazing updates and improvements too. So this is it for those who like to take a look at this, or possibly you'd like to check out their new rebranding and ecosystem that they've just put together. Then you can simply go over to the link in the description and check this out. More so, for those who are thinking about learning some stuff that has to do with design, or possibly you like to get some huge percentage offs right now, then you might also find some amazing links in the description that can get you going. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section, and I'd like to see you guys in the next one. Peace.